And yeah, so Cesc knows that that's going to be a battle half. He has to put in performances like he did yesterday every single week to essentially try to keep Perisich out, because once Perisich gets in and gets sharp, he will think that that's his position to keep as well. And that is the beauty of the Conte squad. He can rotate away, and you've got two top options for that left wing-back spot. And there is going to be another. Because it comes in the shape of 19-year-old Destiny Udogie, one of the best names ever in football. It is his destiny to come to Tottenham. Udinese left wing back. I understand the Spurs are confident that deal is going to be tied up in the next few days. I think we're talking about roughly 22 million. That includes add-ons as well. But he will go back on loan. This is one of these. Back on loan to Udinese. Should have said where he's actually come from. This is one of those opportunity deals that we speak about. You will have heard me talk about it in the past. Spurs always operate in two different ways in a transfer market. There's the set plan. There's the plan for, right, we need this position, that role. We need to bring in new people for that. And if we lose this person, we bring in that person for that. That's one set way of doing it. It's for the now. The other way that they approach the window is, right, here's a list of the top young players that we've really got an eye on and we really like. And if, for some reason, an opportunity arises with any of these, we should really make a move and secure them for the future. We've seen them do it before. Sometimes it works out handsomely, like it did, let's say, Dele Alli. Dele Alli, of course, now it's a different thing. But in those years after, whatever you want to say about Dele Alli nowadays, in those 3-4 seasons or 3 seasons after Spurs signed Dele Alli for just 5 mil, as the song goes, he was one of the best young players in Europe. And they got him at a ridiculous price. And if they'd sold him at his peak, 100 million, 150 million? It would have been an extortionate amount of money. And that's the kind of way Spurs look at it. So Pape Matar Sarr last season, they're hoping that will be another such deal. Getting in there quickly, sign him while everyone is looking at him, but for a price that is good, and then you loan them back. I'd say it hasn't worked out thus far, but Bryan Gil is another one like that. And weirdly, again, another one that didn't work out. This is the gamble of it all. I'd say Sergio Reguilón was one. Sergio Reguilón at that point, was he 22, 23? A little bit older than the kind of age range we're talking, but it was one of those deals where they didn't necessarily need a left back at that point. But he was a young player that they'd kept an eye on, and the opportunity came up to buy him. And they just thought, oh, do you know what? Let's go for it. It's one we can't miss out on. And it hasn't worked. Of course it hasn't. And that's the flip side to it. It's calculated risk because of the lower prices, although Reguilón was a little bit more because he was a little bit older. But it is just, it's tying up stars for the future. And that's also got to be part of what football clubs do. They all do it. But with Destiny Udogie, he is Italy under-21 international. I think he's got 4 under-21 caps. But there's a feeling that after a terrific season for Udinese last season, he is very close to becoming a full senior Italy international under Roberto Mancini. And it's no coincidence the top 2 fullbacks, wingbacks, whatever you want to call them, for goal contributions to Serie A last season were Ivan Perisic and Destiny Udogie, and both will be Tottenham Hotspur players. It's no coincidence whatsoever. Apparently Perisci and Conte both have high hopes for him. The problem with Bryan Gil, of course, as Conte pointed out, was although he is one of the brightest young talents in Spain, whether he's actually physically suited to the Premier League is another thing. You won't have that issue with Destiny Udogie, 6'1", well-built lad, very talented, skillful player, great engine, plays as a left wing-back for Udinese, so knows that role, and they believe that, they can mould him into a player kind of ready for it. He was born in Verona. Last season he got, I want to get the numbers right, I think I've written them down. Yes, 5 goals and 3 assists, although on Who Scored, actually, they had him as 4 assists. I don't know what's happened there. But very much, he's only 19 and very much seen as a kind of big star in the making. A lot of clubs across England and Italy looking at him. I think Man City were also looking at him as well. But I think Spurs' willingness to be able to let him go back to Udinese is going to be was a big factor, and also his willingness to play for Antonio Conte, which, if you want to read a little bit into that, is coming next summer. So there's a player who is very much the impression that Conte will be around beyond this summer. So take that as you want. Yeah. So I just realised in my head it'll be the 7th signing of this transfer window, which is just obscene. Plays with the number 13, I think, at Udinese, which is, I think we've always associated that with the backup keeper when it comes to English, the numerical system. Oh God, I sound like Conte there. The numerical aspect. Conte is in overdrive with his numerical aspect, physical aspect, tactical aspect. We're getting a lot of those in every presser. But back to Udogie. I'm probably killing the pronunciation of his name. It may be Udogie. It may be Udogie. I will ask those in Italy for that exact pronunciation, so I can probably continue to murder it for a long time to come. But yeah, he's going to be a top young player. I've seen some people saying, "Oh, you know, why are they kind of wasting money on another left back when they need someone for the now?" It's not wasting money. And as always, I can only stress that when Spurs and most clubs do these deals, they will be in instalments. They will not be all up front. It is very much securing a very, very bright talent for the future. And you look at the situation at Tottenham in, a year's time, and even Perisich will be, 34 and a half. I think his birthday's in February, so he'll be 35 in the following February. Cess will be 23. He'll have had another season as a Premier League left wing back under his belt as well. You probably look at it and see the young Italian Udogie as the post Perisic signing, but with the fitness of Perisic, I wouldn't put it past him to, in the second year of his Spurs deal, still be ultra fit and at a very, very top level. I think certainly he did an interview with Sky ahead of yesterday's game where he said along the lines of he'd love to be able to be playing as long as Luka Modric is. He feels it is because of his fitness perhaps. He hasn't, and obviously a touch of fortune as well, he hasn't really had any serious injuries in his career. He hasn't missed lots of football at all, despite being 33. So body-wise, he's probably a player whose body is maybe 5-6 years younger than it actually says on the sell-by date. Sell-by date? I don't know what sell-by date is. It's not like he's about to run out. But yeah, I think the situation will be really interesting. And I think it also just puts that little bit of pressure on both Perisic and Sessegnon to have this very talented young player just ready there for next season, and he'll have another big year at Udinese. Like I say, Spurs pushed to the top of the queue because of Conte and the willingness to loan him back, and I think that loan back will do him big favours as well.